Today I'm going to show you how to farm Scholomance on a Paladin. This is a farm that's been around for a while, but since it's late into TBC and dark runes are going to be in demand again for Sunwell, I'd like to show you my method on efficiently farming Scholomance. Right when you come in, jump down and open the gate. Then we're going to pull the left side of this room and come back through to grab the undead down the stairs. The spectral tutors, as I'm sure you know, have a silence. I played around with some nature resist gear and found that it's more worth it to just wear straight spell power and avoidance gear. I'll leave a link to the gear that I use in the description as always. You're going to want to make sure that you have a macro that will target the spectral tutors so that you can get them down quickly. It's easy to kill them when wearing avoidance gear because your swing timer will be resetting so much, you can nuke them down with Seal of Righteousness. Once you've got them all, back into this corner and start pressing your macro. You'll also want to drop Consecration on cooldown whenever you're not silenced. It's useful to have a spell damage trinket that you can pop for some extra damage here. I also like to bring a lot of major mana potions to Scholar farming because the mana burns can ruin some of your pulls if you don't have a backup. As you can see here, I'm using Seal of Righteousness and I'm just attacking the tutors as much as I can. Also remember, when your health gets low, you can use your Colossus trinket, and of course, if you ever get silenced at a bad time, you can just bubble. When the diseased ghouls start to die, they leave a poison cloud on the ground. Make sure to move out of this as it does hurt, especially when you kill a lot of them all at once. The caster mobs will also run away at low HP, just make sure to LOS them so that they group back up on you and you can finish them off. Now you just want to loot up and get full health and mana so that we can pull the rest of the room. What I like to do when I pull here is use an exorcism on the back tutor, and then I just kind of run around and aggro everything else with ranged abilities. When you have everything, we're just going to go back to the same kill spot as before and pretty much do the same thing. On this pull, I sometimes use Seal of Wisdom more often, as you can run out of mana pretty quickly here with these mobs. Again, just save your Colossus for when you're getting low, and if you still have bubble, you can use it to escape a badly timed silence. If you're a Blood Elf, you can also use your Arcane Torrent ability to make the mobs stop casting and melee you, which can help you restore a bit of health when you have your Colossus trinket popped. Once these mobs get low, I like to LOS them up the stairs and drop one last Consecration once they group up again. Next, we're going to go to the room with the Dark Summoners. These mobs are special as they just stand in one place and summon skeletons, but there is a trick you can use to get them to group up. If they're targeting you when you aggro them, they'll actually run towards you anytime your character is in motion as long as they're not casting. This means we can just run in and melee each one to aggro it, and then continuously move our character around to get them to group up. You'll also want a macro to target the risen guards in this room because they can stun you. I like to aggro the entire room and then run back where we came from. Back your character into the wall and start to strafe back and forth. This ensures that you get all the Dark Summoners to stack up while keeping your front to all the mobs that are attacking you. If you do this right, you should start to see the Summoners running towards you. If you get stunned too many times here, you can get pretty low on this pull, so just remember, you can always bubble and Colossus trinket to heal up. We're also going to be pressing our Risen Guard macro to try and get them down quickly so that we don't get stunned anymore. The next thing we're going to be doing is killing Rattlegore so that we can get his key and access the bosses behind the locked door. Note our time here, we've cleared almost all of the dark rune content in only 6 minutes. If we wanted to, we could reset now, but doing that would result in being locked out very quickly. In order to maximize our rune farming, we're going to need to fill out a bit more of this time. Speaking of time, it's time that I told you that I just created a Patreon. If you like my guides and you're looking for a way to support me, then I've got a deal for you. Supporting me on Patreon will get your name in my next video, as well as a special rank and color in my Discord, and access to a supporter-only channel. So far, I have a video going over all of my add-ons. I'll be adding more content in the future to the Patreon soon, and probably some merch in the future. So if you're interested, hop on over to patreon.com/spaciousness94, or click the link in the description. Thank you. Anyways, we want to pull Rattlegore and about 2 or 3 constructs. This is because we'll get extra swings and we'll be able to kill him faster. If you don't have the avoidance, I would probably just kill him alone. He does have a War Stomp ability, and if you have too many ads attacking you, then you'll die pretty fast. I usually use Seal of Vengeance and stack it to 5, and then I judge Vengeance on cooldown. After I judge, I use Seal of Righteousness until I need to refresh my Vengeance again, and we just kind of do that back and forth. Doing this with a Spell Power Trinket and Exorcism spamming will allow you to kill Rattlegore really quickly. Once you've got Rattlegore down, loot the key and make your way back to the first room. Get up your health and mana and then open the door. You can actually open the door from the back corner of the room without pulling anything, but if you do accidentally aggro something, you can pull this entire room first and then open the door when you have bubble on. Once the door is open, take all the mobs from this room and run to the end of the dungeon with all the bosses. For this next part, I'm going to be doing something a little bit differently. There are 4 bosses in Scholomance that technically drop the dark runes, but 2 of the bosses in here have abilities that can make your run take a very long time. Instead of spending our time trying to kill them, we're just going to be killing the 2 melee bosses, as it eliminates the RNG aspect and it makes your runs more efficient. We're going to jump down and take our first right so that we can grab the Ravinian and all the mobs inside of his room. Once you have him, we're going to drag everything to the room with the unstable corpses and Lore Keeper. The reason we're doing this is to utilize our parry hasted melee attacks to nuke the bosses down really quickly. For this reason, we also want to make sure that we don't have Blessing of Sank on. We want all these mobs to stay at full HP until all the bosses are dead. Once you get into this room and you get everything pulled, back into a corner and target one of the bosses. I usually just judge Wisdom to keep my mana flowing, and then I do a swap between Seal of Vengeance and Seal of Righteousness. Press Exorcism on cooldown and these bosses should die very quickly. Make sure you're not pressing Consecrate yet, because we do need these mobs hitting us to kill the bosses quickly. Also, the unstable corpses do explode when they die, so if you're pressing Consecrate here and those die, you're basically going to explode and your run's going to be over. Kill both of the bosses and then start dropping your Consecrates to kill the rest. When you see the unstable corpses are getting low, start kiting around with Consecrates so you don't die when they explode. You can also use your bubble here just to make sure you aren't taking the explosion damage. Everything is now dead, and hopefully your bags are full of dark runes. The last thing for me to show you is a neat little logout skip to make your runs even faster. Log out on top of the candlestick inside of this room, and when you log back in, you will appear at the instance portal. You're now free to run out and reset and repair your gear at the vendor that is right outside. That's going to be it for today's video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.